In the heart of Little Havana in Miami, the Viernes Culturales festival begins. For the last 16 years, Cuban artists in exile have gathered up at the end of each month to celebrate their culture. On the main avenue, the Cuba Ocho Museum is the place to be. Alejandro Lorenzo is a woodcarver. With his mallet and his suitcase, he fled Cuba in 1992 and settled in Miami, a city where 700,000 Cubans in exile currently live. After 22 years away from his country, he started hoping again in 2014.
Today, the United States of America is changing its relationship with the people of Cuba. In the most significant changes in our policy in more than 50 years, we will end an outdated approach that for decades has failed to advance our interests, and instead, we will begin to normalize relations between our two countries. We are taking steps to increase travel, commerce, and the flow of information to and from Cuba. This is fundamentally about freedom and openness, and also expresses my belief in the power of people-to-people engagement.
Obama's call, Alejandro heard it loud and clear. As an artist, he wishes to contribute to the normalization process.
Son parte importante de la sociedad. No pueden vivir, tú sabes, en una burbuja como es, incluso la prensa, los periodistas. Obama abrió un camino. Ese es el único legado.
A vision shared by Roberto Ramos, the founder of the Cuba Ocho Museum, never misses the opportunity to show his painting of the president in this iconic venue for the Cuban culture in America.
I think that Obama opened the door for every freedom, open for relationship, for the information. It's the more big one arm the Cuban government from the people, for the Cuban people, is information, the controlling the information. And Obama opened this.
A few blocks away, in the historic headquarters of the Versailles restaurant, the anti-Castrist opposition is ranting. Juan Garao is a journalist.
Bienvenido al restaurant Versailles.
He's been living in Miami since the 1970s, and he cannot stomach Obama's new approach on Cuba.
Yo creo que es un desastre, un fracaso, porque no se puede negociar con un régimen tiránico, un régimen que hace casi 60 años que oprime a un pueblo y que lo mantiene en la miseria, que además ha hecho una negociación a cambio de nada, porque Raúl Castro y su hermano Fidel no le han dado al gobierno de Obama y a la democracia.
And this is a red line for the old guard of Cuban-Americans. They are opposed to any sort of deal with the Castros, and their powerful allies in the US Congress prevent the lifting of the embargo, which has strangled the Cuban economy for the last 54 years.
Cuba's close to home for me, both because of my heritage, also because of the community I live in. I know literally hundreds of people that have lived under this repressive regime.
Yo creo que lo más importante es que sí, que se pueda levantar el embargo, pero como está establecido dentro del Congreso americano, de que hayan elecciones libres, de que haya pluralismo partidista, diversidad de partidos políticos y que salgan de las cárceles todos los presos políticos y que pare la represión en Cuba.
However, a recent poll published in the New York Times shows that 62% of Americans support Obama's Cuban agenda. At the Florida International University of Miami, 1 in 3 students is of Cuban heritage. Its Cuban Research Institute is looking for ways to benefit from this new deal. Jorge Duani, the director of the institute, wants to establish 1 or 2 campuses on the island.
One of the main points of the Obama policy on Cuba is precisely to promote people-to-people contact. So now I think most universities in the United States, and particularly here in Florida, are looking to establish partnerships all over different disciplines.
2 hours away from Boston, in Massachusetts, the Hampshire College has been a pioneer in this area. For the last 15 years, they have sent about 10 students to Cuba every year. Last spring, Tatiana Hergraves flew to Havana to study the violin.
Who here actually knew what the cha-cha-cha sounded like?
an experience, both professional and personal, that she will never forget.
I think I didn't really know how much Cuba affected me until I got back, when all of a sudden I felt really sad. And I realized that's because when I was in Havana for 3 months, I was probably the happiest I'd ever been in my life. Just the amount of music that I was learning, also the program, I was just learning a lot. But just the people I met, they were so beautiful and so caring and open and welcoming, and just such strong people that were really inspiring. I really miss being around those kind of people.
Millions of Americans can now travel freely to Cuba as commercial flights have reopened since September 2016. However, according to Barack Obama himself, the two countries still have fierce disagreements on human rights. The normalization initiated 2 years ago could be soon deepened, as Castro said he would leave power in 2018.